Hey everyone, it's Sunday night and I am a half hour late, so I apologize if you are waiting for me. I'm going to blame my husband who had a fantasy draft and life just kind of got in my way and I just got behind. So if you're just joining me, we're going to be talking tonight about text to world. And I have to be honest, I think last year I did not do a very good job of really understanding and teaching text to world correctly. So hopefully this year I will be doing a better job of that. It's kind of like the trickiest one, I think, for the kids to understand, to look at the bigger picture and then the whole world. Because the previous week we're going to be talking about text to text, this week I am going to continue to talk about text to text and then also text to world. So we're going to kind of bring them both together and talk about both. So the theme for the week is community helpers, people in the community. And in the past, we've done community and then community helpers. But this is all basically about community helpers of what I prepared for text to world. And you would probably think it would be nonfiction, but the books, for the most part, are fictional books that I will be sharing, except for one. And then I will be taking that fictional book and trying to relate it to the real world into a nonfiction aspect. So it was kind of tricky for me to find picture books that I felt were appropriate. And also, since I've been teaching for so long, I have many books, but I wanted to include books where you would have the option of purchasing them at a cheap price, or that they would even be on YouTube that you could show to your class, because books do go out of print. So hopefully the selections I picked for you, you either have or could find on YouTube or buy pretty cheaply. So with that being said, I do want to tell you that this product, I am going to be including 4 Boom card decks, and they're actually not going to be quizzes or task cards per se. They're actually stories about the 4 different careers we will be talking more in depth about. And the reason I put them on Boom was to save copies. So basically it's a digital version of something I've already made in paper, and I don't have to run it off for the whole class because sometimes all the times text is too hard for first graders. So I've tried to simplify that a lot throughout the year in my nonfiction units and made little mini readers. But I also am trying to save money and not make so many copies. So I basically took my black and white version of the text and put it into a colored version on Boom. And I'm going to provide that with the text to world package. And so I just, before we begin, I kind of want to show that to you on my computer. My computer is going to log out, and I really don't want to get going through it. So the 4 careers that I'm going to focus on in this unit are police officers, doctors, firefighters, and farmers. I really wanted to have 2 goods and 2 services, but it was really hard for me to find another career that produced a good. I know there's the bakery, but I couldn't think of any good fictional text for that. So I'm going to show you real quick on my computer a Boom deck for police officers. And there is going to be audio, so your kids could potentially, if you had computers in your room, sit down and listen to this story. However, I've been doing this a lot with my class this year, and just if you have a smart board, I've been doing them as a whole group. So depending on where I'm at during the day, I might do one day we listen to the story in whole group, another day we listen to it on the Chromebooks. So I just wanted you to know that this is an option. But so I'm going to turn the computer away from me, the phone away from me, so you can see on the computer what I'm talking about. So hang tight. There's my wall. Sorry, I'm going to take this off. Okay, here is, this is what I was afraid was going to happen. Okay, so here's what a Boom deck looks like. And basically, there will be a little microphone that tells the kids to click on it and reads the story to them. and you click on the little arrow, and then I will read. It will be my voice saying, police officers are community helpers. They help protect the community. They provide a service. And then the kids will click on the next arrow. They wear a special uniform so you can find them easily. They drive a car that is easy to find. It has sirens on the top and a radio. They teach people about the law. They make sure laws are followed. They drive around neighborhoods and patrol. They make sure everything is safe. They have many tools, and I would stop and discuss the different tools here. Dogs can be police officers too. They are called service dogs. Police officers provide a service for our community. And then when you're done, it kind of goes to that screen. So there will be one, like I said, for police officers, doctors, firefighters, and farmers. But I wanted you to know that was included. So now I'm going to kind of show you real quick what I have for text to world. So I'm going to stand up here. So last week we had text to self. So I want to show you how I would set this up every day. On a poster board, it would say text to, and then and there are pictures of this provided, and then text to self, and then text to world. And after we read a story every day, sorry, I hope you can see that, I would discuss with the class and put sticky notes below here of connections they can make to themselves and connections to the world. So one of the stories is Froggy goes to the doctor. So they might say, oh, I had to go to the doctor once because I was sick, or my brother had an earache, or I had to get shots, or tell a story about what happened at the doctor. And then for the world, we would talk about why are there doctors in the world? Where are they? Why are they important? And talk about the bigger picture of a doctor and why is it important to us. And it also, instead of having discussion cards for every story, I have 4 different text to world discussion cards that I will keep out and we will use every day in discussing the text. So those. And then of course, I pulled the text to self from the previous week, but here's the text to world poster for the week. So let's begin. Our first story that we're going to be talking about is called On the Town, and it's a community adventure. It actually goes through and talks about all different community helpers. So I thought it would be a great way to lead into the week. And this little boy goes on a little trip with his mom and they visit many different places in the community. So after reading that text, we would be doing some probably, well, these charts here and then a worksheet, and you'll get to see all of those in here. And then as a project together, I was going to cut rectangles and squares for the students and give them each a rectangle or a square. And then in the package there are windows and doors and all kinds of things, and they can create their own community building. And then as a class, we could make a huge community out in the hallway. So I did create our community, and there's actually a bigger one, but here let me just show you what I mean. So I just cut this piece of paper, then I hand cut that, and then there's little cards to label, so school, ice cream shop. This one has no cutouts, but they could just draw. Dentist and a hospital. It looks like I have 2 dentists for some reason. I must really want to be thinking about the dentist. And then here's a bigger community sign, our class community. And that it actually, when I lined those up, it turned out super cute. And I printed them for you, but they are over in my printer, over in my room here, and I forgot to grab them. So unless my husband shows up in here, I'm not going to walk around and show them to you. And then there is a sorting activity that you can do. So you can, all the community buildings are in, from the story are on this sort. So a very special place where you and your family live, that would obviously be a home. And this is all done on a pocket chart, anchor on a pocket chart, and I have a picture of that as well. So that is just like a general introduction to community. So I'm going to go on to the Little Red Hen, which actually I'm going to read the last day, but they're not in any specific order. So the Little Red Hen, I'm sure most of you know this, fairy tale, folk tale, I'm not really sure. But it's about a little hen that does all the work. He plants the seeds, or she plants the seeds and weeds and waters, and then turns the wheat into flour and creates a pizza and doesn't share. So this to me is a perfect connection. Well, you can make so many connections to yourself or about being lazy and not helping out, but the text to world connection I really thought I wanted to make with this is talking about where do things come from, and who in the world is helping us to plant seeds and water gardens and get us flour, and where does all that come from, which then brings us to a farmer. So when I'm done reading that story, we would do a worksheet as well. But I also made this farmers can have an R chart, and I have this for all of them as well. I love doing these with my kids. And I actually have a paper version of this too. As the kids go through the year, I sometimes let them do it first, and then we share and make a chart together. So again, I just use sticky notes for this, and we list different things. It's a great pre-writing to writing about farmers as well. And then I would also share like the nonfiction mini book that I will have on Boom about farmers. And then of course I had to make a farmer craft. And I have two. I have Mr. Farmer here, and it can be a Mrs. as well. And I also made the Little Red Hen. I actually have had the Little Red Hen for a long time, but have never utilized this story in a product or anything. So I'm so excited to finally share her with you. So I think she's pretty cute. She might be a little bit big compared to my farmer, so you can always scale that down. Here are just a few examples of some of the activities. So text to self. Tell me a time when you did all the work, and then how is the hen like a farmer? Why are farmers helpful for the text to world? If you just wanted to focus on text to world, you talk about what happened in the text and how that relates to our world. Or another version in this story, the Little Red Hen planted, watered, and weeded to make flour in the world, and tell how that relates to our world. And then here are the can, have, and are charts that I talked about that the kids could actually do themselves. And then some writing ideas. So my kids actually, depends on year to year. This year I am struggling with writing, and I'm so sad about it, but we're going to get through it. So we're just writing a little bit more, because the more you write, the better you get to be writers. So this would be maybe something more appropriate for them, where they can just kind of fill in the blank. From like my highest writers right now, I'm getting maybe a sentence or two. So, I mean, it just depends on class to class, but I also included some blank lined and then the kind here. And also this year I have a child with special needs. So, and sometimes I forget to do this, but having a child with special needs and teaching one reminds you that, you just really need to differentiate. So this would be something simple for my child with special needs. Farmers can, and she can write a word, and that would be perfect for her to complete. So that's the Little Red Hen in our text to world connection. And then there's Froggy. Who doesn't love Froggy? We read Froggy Goes to School, so I thought Froggy Goes to the Doctor would be an excellent kind of lead-in. Everybody goes to the doctor. We know doctors are important, and kids will have lots of stories to share, so I thought it would be great to make a text-to-self connection. And why do we need doctors? I try to pick people community helpers that are so important, and we all know how important doctors are. They save lives all the time. So again, I have the doctors can have an R chart here. And then I made my first ever doctor craft for you. They're kind of silly, but so this doctor has the headlamp on his head, and then this doctor has the stethoscope around her neck, girl or boy. So those are the crafts. And then again, the same concept here of the worksheets, pretty similar. I find that when you do repetitive things, especially with young kids, they get better and better at it, and it takes less explaining out of things and more quality work comes of it. So a lot of times I will do the same activity with a different book 2 days sometimes 3 days, and then I'll switch it up and then do that activity a couple days. And then on the last day, I might do 2 of them, but I always try to keep it consistent for them, especially in the beginning of the year. So here are the writing options as well, and they're all the same that I showed you before. So that brings me to Fly Guy. My kids love Fly Guy. He's just funny and silly. And this is the one nonfiction book that I am including. We used to do fire safety for a whole week, but now that we're teaching guided reading with a purpose and a strategy, we just don't have a whole week for firefighters. So that's why I brought firefighters in for one day, because they are so important. I think it's good for kids to learn fire safety. Also, I know I didn't mention this, but we don't have a separate block for social studies or science really, so I try to integrate as much as I can. So what I'm showing you today is my guided reading portion, but I do have 2 other packets for community helpers and community that I will bring in for more social studies stuff. So I just want to mention that that's why I'm picking this topic too, because we integrate. So again, the can have an R, and here's my little fire chief. She does come in a he as well. And the only difference on these activities for fire safety, I think there's a list on the back end, of things that firefighters need. So we would talk about what they need, and again, I have a boom book, nonfiction book as well. I don't know that I'm going to need it since Fly Guy is kind of nonfiction. That might be something I just assign to them at a later date. They can read that book on their own. So my last book for Text to World is my favorite, and that is Officer Buckle and Gloria. And I used to do him at the beginning of the year, but I saved him because I wanted to talk about him when we were doing community helpers. So this story, I know most of you probably already know it, but it's about a police officer and coming to school and talking about being safe. And a lot of times kids are afraid of police officers, but I really want kids to know that they're safe people and that they're here to help us. So this is a great book to kind of talk about that. So again, I have my can have an R and the same activities. There's a few other things. So here's Gloria, and here is Officer Buckle, and I struggled with him, for a long time, but I think he turned out okay. So again, some of the same activities, but I did add to this one a safety tip for the school year, so the kids could write a safety tip in the star. And also this week, we're doing week 2, beginning, middle, and end. And so I thought, I'd like to throw in a little review here and there, so I thought this was the best story to do that, so I included a beginning, middle, and end for Officer Buckle and Gloria. I would have my kids draw a picture and label if possible, or if they wanted to write sentences, fantastic. But a lot of right now what we're doing are pictures and labeling. So that is Text to World, and then next week I'll be talking about text to text. I'm really excited about the boom cards, and I hope that, I'm going to on me again, I hope that you'll try them out. So if you have the code, which you would get, you can automatically get a free membership for up to 5 students or something like that. And then you have to pay for more students. So since I create them and put them on there, I think I paid $20 for the whole year, and it gave me 200 memberships, which is pretty awesome, because we have like a Core Plus time, or I could differentiate and put a high group of kids, but they're really, really cool. If you haven't checked out Boom Learning, it's www.wow.boomlearning.com, I believe. My kids are obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them, because they're now coming up to the smartboard and clicking it and making doing the answers. And actually this week we got the Chromebooks out, and every day we logged in and logged out, logged in and logged out. And then by the end of the week we were able to log into the Chromebook, do a boom task set, and log out in the 10-minute rotation during math. So they're making huge progress on the Chromebooks. I'm super geeked about that. And then we even logged into Google Classroom on Friday, but that wasn't as easy, so we'll keep working on that. But anyways, this week I want to talk to you about guided reading. So I will post when I will be doing that soon, because I'm going to do it from school because everything is there for school, to talk about it. So I'll probably go live after school, or maybe I'll even come back, but I need to check my schedule first. I hope a lot of you grabbed some goodies this week when TPT did that boost day. I know I did. And I don't know, I'm going to get you my lesson plans. I promise. That's my goal tonight, is to type them up nicely for you for the first 2 weeks of school. And also I'll be sharing a couple things throughout the week. So happy Sunday night. Hope you have a great week, and stay tuned for guided reading sometime this week, and anything else that I can share with you.